Hello everybody, this is Verse. Welcome to this video. Gatekeepers of economic development. That is what we're talking about today. Gatekeepers of economic development. That's what I will be discussing. I do not think that a lot of people know that there is something called the gatekeepers of development in the economic situation of a country. So there are so many countries all around the world, especially Africa's countries, that do not understand something that's called economic development gatekeepers. Economic development gatekeepers. Just how we have a dam, right, to collect a big mass of water body and let it flow through a designated path or channel or route. The same way we have some individual or group of people called the economic development gatekeepers. So who are these people? What are they? Where are they located? What do they do? What is their sole purpose? What's their job? What are they doing what they do for? All these we're gonna talk about in this video. If you're new to Unbound Verse, I encourage you to watch this video to the end and support this channel by sharing this video to spread this information around. Economic development gatekeepers. Let's go. The concept of economic development gatekeepers refers to individuals, groups, or institutions that hold substantial control over economic policy. They hold substantial control over economic resources. They also hold substantial control over opportunities within a given country. Okay, that's the concept of economic development gatekeepers. These gatekeepers significantly influence the direction and pace of economy. They can, because they have that power. They can significantly influence the direction and pace of economic development of any country in which they are located. So here are detailed explanation of what economic development gatekeepers do. Their key characteristics, their key motive of being the gatekeeper of economic development of any country that they are present at. One key characteristic is that they control resources. They have control over resources. Not one, not two, not three, vast number of resources. They have control over it. So let's take natural resources, for instance. In countries that are rich in natural resources, gatekeepers may control access to these resources. And they can determine who can exploit these resources and how the profits are distributed. They have the control to do that. Now, these gatekeepers sometimes they control these natural resources to benefit just themselves and a very few group of people around them. Right? So that's one key characteristics of economic development gatekeepers. Another key characteristics of economic development gatekeepers is that they have financial resources control. They have control over financial resources. So they may have significant influence over financial institutions. They may have control over loans. They may have control over investments, and they may have control over economic aid. Think about all these financial resources that they have control over. That means they can dictate what percentage rate loans are going to go out for. They can control who that loan will go out to. They can even control who has got access to all these financial resources. These guys have massive power. Another key characteristics of economic development gatekeepers is that they have control over policy influence. They have control over policy influence. So they have control over policy influence. So let's take economic policies, for instance. With the economic policy in a country where economic development gatekeepers are, gatekeepers can shape economic policies such as tax regulations, tax policies, and investment laws. And most of the time, this control is to benefit their specific interests. Regulatory framework is another thing that they have control over. They can establish or manipulate regulatory frameworks that can either foster a competitive market environment or create monopolies and oligopolies. This they can do. Economic development gatekeepers also have access to opportunities. Opportunities like business licenses and permits, they have control over this. Gatekeepers might control the issuance of business licenses and permits. Okay, and this can affect who can enter certain industries. If they don't want you to enter it, they will not allow you to get the license. These guys also have control over government contracts. They have control over government contracts. They may influence the awarding of government contracts and tenders. And most of the time, when they do this, they are favoring certain companies or certain individuals. This is not going round to everybody. These are the areas where economic development gatekeepers have controls over. Now, let's talk about how gatekeepers impede economic development. This act of theirs impede economic development. Now, how gatekeepers impede economic development includes the following. Because they have all this control over a lot of things, right? Corruption sets in. Corruption sets in. So gatekeepers might engage in corrupt practices such as bribery and embezzlement, diverting public funds for personal gain, and the undermining trust in institutions. Because they have such control, they can do this. And when they do this, they're affecting the economic development. They're impeding the development of that country. Another aspect where they are impeding this economic development is in the area of mismanagement. Poor management of resources and institutions can lead to inefficiencies and waste, preventing economic growth and development. So they can prevent economic growth and development while they do that. Now, Favoritism and nepotism is another impediment that they set on economic. So policies and opportunities might be designated to benefit a select few, often those with personal or political connections with them, rather than the broader population. Okay, this can stifle competition and innovation. That's one of the ways they are causing impediment or impeding economic growth or development in a country where they exist. Another way they are impeding the economic development is the barriers to entry. Barriers to entry, obstacle to entry. So by creating and maintaining barriers to entry in various sectors, gatekeepers can limit competition, keeping prices so high and the quality so low, which hampers overall economic efficiency and growth. Policy instability is another impediment that they bring on economic development. There is policy instability. Frequent changes in policies to suit the interests of gatekeepers can create an unpredictable economic environment, deterring both local and foreign investment. When the policies aren't stable, local and foreign investments can't trust that their money is safe in such country where gatekeepers do that. So here are some examples of economic development gatekeepers. These are examples, okay? These are examples of economic development gatekeepers. They're there. They're keeping the gate, okay? Political elites is an example of an economic development gatekeeper. In many countries, political elites who hold power can control economic policies and resource allocation to maintain their status and wealth. Okay, they can do that. Also, business magnates, big people that have big money to do business. These are big business magnates. They are big people, they got money. Not big physically, but big financially. Wealthy business leaders with close ties to the government can influence economic decisions to protect their business interests. Another example of economic development gatekeepers are government institutions. Key government institutions such as the central banks, the regulatory bodies, and ministries, all these people or organizations can act as gatekeepers by controlling monetary policy, by controlling financial regulations, by controlling economic planning. All right, those are examples of gatekeepers, okay? Now I'm going to share with you the impact of gatekeepers on economic development. The following are the impacts of gatekeepers on economic development. Reduced economic growth. Reduced economic growth. Corruption and mismanagement lead to inefficiencies that slow down economic growth. Okay. Increased inequality. Favoring a select few exacerbates economic inequalities, with wealth concentrated in the hands of a few, while the majority remains impoverished. The majority will remain impoverished. All right. Discouraged investment is another one. Discouraged investment. Unpredictable policies and corruption deter both domestic and foreign investors. And this will reduce the flow of capital that is needed for development. Okay, it will reduce it. Another one is limited innovation. Limited innovation. By stifling competition, gatekeepers hinder innovation and productivity improvements. They hinder that because they stifle the competition. So by doing that, they are hindering innovation and productivity improvement in that country. So addressing the issue of economic development gatekeepers requires a very comprehensive reforms that is aimed at increasing transparency, strengthening institutions, and promoting fair competition. It also involves efforts to reduce corruption and ensure that policies and resources are directed towards inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Now, there is an example of a company that, in my opinion, I think is facing problems of economic development in the hands of gatekeepers in Nigeria. So I'll pose a question to you. Is Dangote facing the problem of economic development gatekeepers in Nigeria? Is he? If you don't know about Aliko Dangote, let me tell you who is. Aliko Dangote is one of Africa's richest individuals and a prominent business magnate in Nigeria. Certainly navigates a complex landscape that includes various economic development gatekeepers. He does. He navigates them. While Dangote's position and influence often allow him to circumvent some of these obstacles, he still faces challenges that are associated with economic gatekeepers. You guys remember when he came on the social media saying that the government not giving him license or crude oil to do something? He's still facing it. He's facing that challenge. Okay? Challenges Dangote might face from economic development gatekeepers includes the following. If he hasn't thought about this, if he's able to watch this video, this might educate him a little bit. Well, he's a big guy, so he probably knows this. Regulatory hurdles is one. So under regulatory hurdles, we have bureaucratic delays. Navigating the bureaucratic process in Nigeria can be time-consuming and complicated, and this can affect the speed at which business operates and at which business proceeds. Regulatory changes. Frequent changes in regulations and policies can impact business strategies and operational efficiency. So Dangote navigating Nigeria's regulatory environment can be challenging to him due to complex bureaucratic process and frequent changes in policies. Dangote's business might experience delays in obtaining necessary permits and licenses, which can slow down operation and expansion plans. Okay, that's what he's going to experience. You remember when he just came on the social media and he was saying they didn't give him permit for that big project, also almost $20 billion project. So regulatory unpredictability also complicates long-term business planning, as sudden changes in regulations can disrupt established business strategies and increase compliance costs. Another hurdle that Dangote might face in the hands of economic development gatekeepers is corruption. Okay, corruption. That word is not new to people that live in Nigeria or in Africa or anywhere else in the world. Bribery and favoritism. To secure necessary permits or license and contracts, businesses often encounter demands for bribes, or they face favoritism that can disadvantage even well-established enterprises. Example, like Dangote's company. Corruption remains a pervasive issue in Nigeria. And this is affecting various levels of government and business operations. Even a major player like Dangote might encounter demands for bribes or even face favoritism that benefits competitors or hinder fair competition. So, corruption can lead to increased operational costs and create an uneven playing field, making it so difficult to conduct business transparently and efficiently. Another hurdle that Dangote might face in the hands of economic development gatekeepers in Nigeria is infrastructure deficiencies. Infrastructure deficiencies, there's so many infrastructures, right? Power supply, for instance. Inconsistent power supply is a significant issue in Nigeria, affecting manufacturing and operational costs. Transportation is an infrastructural problem. Poor road networks and inadequate transportation infrastructure can increase logistical costs and reduce operational efficiency. Nigeria's inadequate infrastructure poses significant challenges for businesses, not just Aliko Dangote's business, but all businesses that are in existence within the premises of Nigeria. Issues such as inconsistent power supply and poor transportation networks can disrupt production processes and increase logistical costs for Dangote's operation. For instance, frequent power outages necessitate Dangote to invest in expensive alternative power sources, while poor road conditions can delay the transport of goods and raw materials, impacting overall productivity and profitability. Another hurdle that Dangote is going to face in the hands of economic development gatekeepers in Nigeria is political instability. Political instability. Policy uncertainty, for instance, under political instability is a problem. So political changes can bring shifts in economic policies that affect business environments unpredictably. So political instability and policy uncertainty in Nigeria can create a volatile business environment. Dangote's enterprise may be affected by sudden shifts in government policies, which can alter the economic landscape and affect business operation. This unpredictability can deter long-term investment and necessitate constant adjustment in business strategies to align with the changing political climate. And this will be adding an element of risk to business ventures. Another hurdle or difficulty that Dangote will face in the hands of economic development gatekeepers in Nigeria is market entry barriers. Okay, protectionism, for instance. Protectionism. In some sectors, policies that protect local industries can limit competition, but also create barriers for even local giants like Dangote when they try to expand into new areas, as we have seen with his plant, right? Protectionists design their policies to safeguard local industries can sometimes create barriers to market entry, even for established local giants like Dangote. Such policies can limit competition and innovation, but also pose challenges when expanding into new sectors or regions. These barriers might include high tariffs, restrictive regulation, or preferential treatment for certain businesses, making it difficult for Dangote to diversify or scale operations smoothly across different markets. Now, what can Dangote do? What strategies can Dangote navigate to curtail these challenges? So here are Dangote's strategies to navigate these strategies, to navigate these challenges. One option that Dangote has is political connections. Political connections. Dangote has adeptly cultivated strong relationship with political leaders and key government officials, which can help in navigating regulatory and bureaucratic challenges. These connections often provide him with valuable insights into upcoming policy changes and enable smoother negotiations when dealing with government agencies. This strategic networking helps in mitigating risks that are associated with regulatory unpredictability and securing necessary permits and approvals more efficiently, allowing his business to operate with greater stability and foresight. So maybe Dangote doesn't have a political connection in Nigeria. Maybe that's why he's facing one of these problem of permits for him to be able to get crude oil from Nigeria. That's a major producer of crude oil, exporter of crude oil, so he can, refract it or distill it or refract it in his plant to make products. Vertical integration is another one. What does that mean? By adopting a strategy of vertical integration, Dangote has minimized dependency on external suppliers and enhanced control over his supply chain. This approach ensures consistent quality and supply of raw materials, reduces costs, and improves efficiency across production processes. For example, in his cement business, Dangote not only produces cement but also manages the extraction of raw materials and the logistics involved in the distribution of all these materials. This comprehensive control helps mitigate infrastructure-related challenges such as unreliable suppliers or transportation issues by maintaining tighter oversight over all stages of production and distribution. Okay. Another way he could navigate this hurdle is by investment in infrastructure. If he's got more money, he should invest in infrastructure. Dangote has invested significantly in improving infrastructure critical to his business operations, okay, such as building roads around his plant, such as building power plants and other facilities. These investments not only support his manufacturing and logistical needs, but also contribute to the broader economic development of the region where his business operates from. By addressing infrastructure deficit directly, Dangote ensures a more reliable and efficient operational environment, thereby reducing dependency on often inadequate public infrastructure. This proactive approach helps maintain continuous production and distribution that is crucial for his large-scale industrial venture. So Dangote invest in infrastructure, okay? Build more infrastructure, okay? Another way he could navigate this hurdle is to diversify. Diversification. He's probably doing that right now, but this is just for him to know. Diversification is a key strategy employed by Dangote to mitigate risk and ensure sustained growth. His business empire spans across various sectors, including cement, sugar, salt, and petroleum refining, among others. This diversification helps buffer against downturns in any single industry and spreads risk across multiple revenue streams. Dangote can adapt to market fluctuations and regulatory changes more flexibly, ensuring that his overall business remains resilient and capable of capitalizing on opportunities across different industries. Okay, across different industries. All right. Another way he could navigate this is to do something that is called corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, CSR. Now, I have to tell you what CSR means, okay? Because I had to research that too. What is corporate social responsibility, CSR? Corporate social responsibility, CSR, refers to a business model in which companies integrate social and environmental concerns into their operations and interactions with stakeholders. Did you get that? So they're not only focusing on profit, all right? It goes beyond the pursuit of profit and includes practices that promote sustainable development, ethical behavior, and community engagement. Here are the key components of CSR. Here are the key components of CSR. Key component of CSR includes the following: environmental responsibility. Companies adopt practices that reduce their environmental impact, such as minimizing waste, reducing carbon emissions, and using sustainable resources. These can include efforts like recycling, energy efficient operations, and supporting renewable energy initiatives. Those are key elements of CSR. Another key element of CSR is the social responsibility. Social responsibility. Okay. Business contributes to the well-being of the communities in which they operate. They do that. So this can involve philanthropic activities such as donating to charities, supporting local education, and supporting local health programs, and improving community infrastructure. That is one other key element of CSR. Another key element of CSR is ethical responsibility. Ethical responsibility. Companies commit to ethical behavior in their business practices. This includes fair treatment of employees, transparent operations, and integrity in dealing with customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. Integrity in dealing with customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. That's very big. Another key element of CSR is economic responsibility. While pursuing profitability, companies also focus on creating economic value in a manner that benefits society. This can mean investing in local economies, paying fair wages, and ensuring that business growth is inclusive. Now, those are the key elements of CSR. Now, let's talk about the benefits of CSR. How can corporate social responsibility benefit the society, the community, the country? It will enhance reputation. That's one benefit. Engaging in CSR helps build a positive public image and strengthens brand reputation. Consumers are increasingly aware of and prefer to support companies that are socially and environmentally responsible. Okay. Another benefit of CSR is customer loyalty. Companies that demonstrate a commitment to social and environmental causes often attract and retain customers who share those values with other people, leading to increased customer loyalty. Okay, if a customer knows that this company is concerned about developing my area, they will earn their loyalty. They will give their loyalty. Another benefit of CSR is employees satisfaction. Employees satisfaction. CSR initiatives can improve employee morale and attract talent. Employees often prefer to work for companies that are ethical and socially responsible, leading to higher job satisfaction and retention rates. Okay. Another benefit of CSR is risk management. Risk management. By proactively addressing social and environmental issues, companies can reduce the risk of regulatory fines, lawsuits, and reputational damage. CSR helps in anticipating and managing potential risk. Another benefit of CSR is that there will be an advantage competition. There will be a competitive advantage. Companies that integrate CSR into their business strategy can differentiate themselves from competitors, potentially leading to new market opportunities and increased sales. Because if they trust your product, they will be easily interested in purchasing your other product, or they'll be easily interested in working for other companies you have. Now, here are some examples of CSR activities. Here are some examples of CSR activities, things you can do that's considered as CSR. Environmental initiatives is one of them. Implementing recycling programs, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, using sustainable materials, and supporting conservation projects. That's one. Philanthropy is another example of CSR. By donating money, products, or services to social causes and non-profit organizations. Okay, supporting disaster relief or supporting the efforts of those that are trying to relieve people that have disaster problem, and sponsoring educational programs. All right, sponsoring educational programs. Another example is ethical labor practices. Ensuring fair wages, safe working conditions, and respectful treatment of employees. These are ways you can practice CSR. And then implementing diversity and inclusion program into your company. Those are ways you can implement or show CSR. Community engagement is another big one. So volunteering in local communities, supporting small businesses, and engaging in community development projects. These are ways you can show CSR Dangote or any other company out there. In summary, CSR involves a commitment to ethical practices, sustainable development, and the well-being of stakeholders, okay, which in turn can lead to long-term benefits for both the company and the society. So, viewers, in conclusion, while Dangote's significant influence and resources afford him some protection against the challenges posed by economic development gatekeepers, he is not entirely immune to these issues. Okay, he's not immune from the hurdles of economic development gatekeepers. His ability to navigate the complex regulatory and political landscape of Nigeria showcases the broader challenges that businesses face in environments where economic gatekeepers have substantial control. I hope you have gotten some key pointers in this video, and if you have, please support this channel by sharing this information that you have learned here in this video with all of your friends, maybe even to Dangote's groups of companies or stakeholders themselves. All right, thank you. I remain yours, Mamban Verse presenter. See you in another video. Bye for now.